It's 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. What time is it? 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back for another episode of 7 Minutes Saturday. I haven't had one in a couple of Saturdays. Y'all already know what we do, so let's go ahead. I don't have my Keep It Random mystery box. I am out of town, so we're improvising. All right. My parents want me to go into a certain field, but I really don't want to. I don't know what to do. Okay. So your parents want you to go in a specific field, but you don't want to go in that field. What are you to do? So, in my video that I talked about nursing is not for me. I talked about my personal experience, like with my parents. And so from me sharing my story and my journey and everything, I get a lot of people who DM me or send me emails talking about their parents and like what their parents want them to do, like this specific scenario and situation. And so what I always want to tell you guys is, for me, I like to be able to talk from experience, but of course I don't experience everything, but I try to provide some tips or advice as much as possible, but at the end of the day, you have to always figure out and do what's best for you ultimately. For myself, like me, whenever I talk to people and people talk about or ask this particular situation or this question, like what to do, I always just say, listen to your small inner voice. And a lot of times, so many, especially young people, you haven't quite learned how to listen to your inner voice, and not only not listen to your inner voice, but trust your inner voice. You don't really know what you're listening to and for, and because you don't trust your inner voice, that means you don't trust yourself. You're more inclined to trust other people. So that means trust other people with the decision making. So instead of you making the decisions for yourself and for your life and for your career and the field that you go in and the school that you will attend, the food that you eat and all those different things, you trust someone else to make those decisions for you. So when it comes to parents, especially if I don't even think that it's just if you have like loving parents, your parents could be horrible. I think that it's just in you as a child to want to please, even though a lot of times you're in denial, but often you want to please your parents. And so they have certain expectations and wants and desires for you and for your future. And so because of that, and because of you wanting to please them, you're like, man, even though that's not really what I'm feeling or what, not really what I want to do, you know what, maybe let me just go ahead and do it. And what I will say is that by doing what other people want you to do or what other people expect you to do, you only push yourself further into despair, unhappiness, lack of peace, like peace of mind, and even like depression and all of that, because you're basically living someone else's life. And I think that sometimes parents want to put off their hopes and dreams and aspirations onto you, like their failed dreams, the things that they wanted to do in life that they never did, or they didn't have the guts to do or the courage to do, or they just weren't able to do it because of money or other reasons. They put that onto you. And it's not necessarily always on purpose. It's just that when you go through life and you've experienced different things, as you mature and you get older, you see life in a totally different way. And so as you grow and you have your own children or nieces and nephews or just people who come behind you, you want better for them. That's a lot of times what I think the case is. Like, your parents, they want better for you than they had or what they did. And so they feel like, okay, this would be a great field for you. So I think that you should go in that particular field. And it can also be that that's just the expectation that your parents have because of culture, or, there's so many different things. But at the end of the day, I think that it is very important for you as a maturing human being and adult, whether you are 16, whether you are 25, 35, 45, 55, we all have parents. It doesn't matter what age. At some point, you have to make a decision that I am responsible and I am in control. And even though my parents want this specific thing for me, it doesn't align with what I want for me. And so because of that, I have to be okay with saying no. I have to be okay with saying no, and I want to be okay with saying no to them, whether they are going to be upset or happy. And I think that's one of the things that is very difficult, saying no to your parents, because you don't want them to be disappointed. You don't want them to be unhappy. And a lot of times parents are financing your life. They're financing your school, and it may not be, but a lot of times, like, your parents have their hands in your life in many different areas of your life. And so because of that, you feel an obligation. And I just think that as a growing and maturing adult, child, you learn communication. It's very important for you to learn how to communicate. So just communicate with your family and let them know, look, mom, look, dad, this is what I want. This is the field that I would like to go in. And if you feel the need to, put a PowerPoint presentation or whatever the case may be, to tell them and explain to them, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it. And at the end of the day, no matter what they say or how they feel, you have to be okay with that. And I think that's one of the biggest things for a lot of us, because we live to please our parents. We just don't even give ourselves that space and opportunity to be real and to be honest enough to tell our family members what we want to do, because we're afraid. We're afraid of what they're going to say. We're afraid of judgment. We're afraid that they're going to disagree. We're afraid that they're going to talk us out of our goals and aspirations and our dreams, or they're going to say something and it's going to make you want to change your mind and all of that. And I think that at some point, what do? Get okay with you, first of all, choosing for yourself. And I think it's okay to listen to other people. Like, your parents are saying, okay, timer. Your parents are saying that this is what they feel that you should do. But at some point, you just have to get to a place to where it's like, you know what, mom? You know what, dad? I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. I value you. But at the end of the day, this is my life. Like, this is my life. And I am responsible, point blank, period. A lot of times for so many people, when you're trying to decide what to do, a lot of times we end up saying that I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I need to do. They're saying this, they're saying that I don't know what to do, but I know that I don't want to do that. That's already a start. That's not the field that you want to go in. So you can eliminate that off of your list. And I believe that once you eliminate things, you're able to actually get closer to where you really are supposed to be. But you don't get there if you're still trying to keep the peace. You know what I mean? Keep the peace with your family and your friends and all these people. You're trying to accommodate them. You know what? Thank you. I appreciate you, but this is what I'm choosing for my life. And at the end of the day, whatever you choose, you are still responsible. So even if your parents are financing certain things, you have to be the one to go to school. You have to be the one to work in that field and do all of these particular things. And it's a whole other thing if they say, look, well, if you're not going to do that, then I'm not going to finance that. I'm not going to pay for said thing. So that's another part of it too. Are you willing to accept them saying, we're cutting you off? A lot of people are not willing to do that. Or a lot of people are not willing to accept that and can't deal with that. So you have to understand and know both sides. Like, if my parents are taking care of this and if I say no, then what? Maybe I just don't tell them right now. And, I figured this out. Or, hey, I tell them and they're going to say, well, because you're not doing what I want you to do, this is it. And I think in that moment, you have to grow up and you have to figure things out. When people say no, you have to figure out another way to figure out a yes. This is your life, and the whatever field that you are going to be in, you will have to be the one to get up every day and go and do it and be the best at it and to put your all into it. And it's on you. Like, you're responsible, and it is very important for you to communicate. And I think sometimes you never know how your parents are going to feel or react. You never know how they're going to react. So you have to give them a chance to hear you out and be honest and open and communicate. Because that was an issue for me, where I was afraid of like saying how I felt, or, because I was raised as like, you're the child, that's the parent, that's the adult, so you respect them. What they say goes. As you begin to grow and get older and you make decisions for yourself, things kind of change a little bit. You still respect them, but you have to be vocal, communicate, and be sure, be confident. Don't be afraid to say it. Even if your voice shakes, even if you're afraid, even if you're sweating, whatever, say it and go after it. I'm always curious to hear what you all think. If you've experienced this with your parents, or if you're going through this right now, hopefully somewhere here something helps you. Maybe someone else can give you some tips or advice. I try to say as much as I can in a 7-minute time frame and off the dome, always, remember. So you can always come over to my Instagram where we can talk a little bit more through DM. So yeah, as always, continue to do things that matter and keep it random. I'll see you all for the next 7-minute Saturday episode. Peace.